The Power Rangers Elemental Force team already has 5 members, and if you don't know this team, then later in this video I will tell you about all the Rangers. For those of you who watched the previous video, you already know that the Gold Ranger is the 6th Ranger even though he is not the 6th member. However, many of you have been asking for a White Ranger, and today I am going to tell you about the new female White Ranger. She is Astra, a female warrior from a planet called Nebu where Power Rangers did not exist. The Morphin Masters managed to create the White Crystal Stone, which contains all the pure energy of the universe, and they had to search all over the planet for someone who was noble of heart to give her this power. Astra was the chosen one, and from that moment on she became the only ranger of her planet. This ranger can control the air, and because of this she has the power to create tornadoes, storms, and strong gusts of wind to attack. In her hand she always carries a sword that allows her to create energy shields, and it obviously also works for fighting. The most unusual power that this ranger has is that she can fly, since her control of the air is so precise that she uses the wind to move anywhere, and this helps her to travel faster. She is so powerful that she managed to wipe out all the enemies of her planet, and now Nebu is at peace. This is the Zord she uses, a giant metal warrior that has a golden sword with a red heart and is capable of destroying almost anything. Because this sword runs on the power of the pure energy of the universe, it also cannot be corrupted by evil, and this makes it one of the most powerful Zords in the universe. In his chest we can see how all the energy flows, and his horns crown him as the most powerful warrior of the planet Nebu. In this image we can see Astra's physique without her costume, a yellow skin, with large yellow eyes and around a little orange. She comes from a species called the Lirans, which are beings of peace and are experts at surviving in any difficult situation. Unfortunately, one day their planet was invaded by a monster called Vrox, which is pure evil, but not very intelligent. This monster feeds on the natural resources of each planet, and that is why it keeps invading different planets throughout the galaxy. Vrox has an impressive strength and has great agility in combat. Several centuries ago, Kyros had defeated this monster and managed to leave him locked in a deep cave in the center of a distant planet. After several centuries, Vrox returned, and the first planet he invaded was Nebu. It was for this reason that the Morphin Masters transformed Astra into a ranger, since they also knew Vrox's power. This monster managed to destroy a large part of the planet Nebu and took the lives of many Lirans, but Astra was able to defeat him before this villain finished them all off. Although this seemed like a victory, the reality is that Vrox knew that there was an energy of nature's elements on planet Earth, and if he manages to consume that energy, then he can become more powerful than Kyros. Now Vrox has teamed up with Zarnak in order to steal the power of the natural elements, and they both seek to destroy Kyros and the Power Rangers forever. Because of this event, the Morphin Masters ask Astra to travel to Earth so she can help the Rangers defeat Vrox, since she knows him so well. For those who don't know the Elemental Force Rangers team, now I leave you the whole history of them. We'll start with the Blue Ranger, the leader of this team, who uses the water element, but normally he will use it in the form of ice or snow. His main weapon is an ice axe, and this ranger also has the power to control water in any of its forms. He is a very intelligent ranger, and his best talent is to create strategies. We'll continue with the Green Ranger, which uses the earth element, and this is going to be a wild ranger that will dominate the entire jungle. His main weapon is a magic hammer with which he can break any rock, create earthquakes, and protect him from any spell. Next is the Red Ranger, which uses the fire element. This ranger does not burn anything, heat does not affect him, and he has the power to throw fire and volcanic lava. His main weapon is a fire sword that can cut anything, and his personality is to be a very reserved ranger because he gets angry easily. The last ranger is the Yellow Ranger, and she is the small change because instead of using the air element, I decided to make this ranger use energy. This ranger always lives in the big cities, and you can mistake her for anyone, but she really has the power to control electrical energy, including thunder. Her main weapon is a futuristic gun that simply works to channel all the energy and direct it to a specific point. His personality is very cheerful, he talks a lot and never gets tired. His costume has a more futuristic style due to the fact that he comes from the future, but since the right technology doesn't exist in this era, he couldn't go back to his real time. These four rangers are very different in everything, but because the Blue Ranger is a great leader, they will form an excellent team. With the elements fire, water, energy, and earth, this team will be called Power Rangers Elemental Force. This new team is led by a powerful space warrior named Kyros who was born on the same day as the birth of the universe and has more power than the Morphin Masters. His power comes from the Morphin grid, and because he was the first to connect to the grid, his power is pure. His name means Master. He has no male or female gender, although his appearance seems masculine. He has a powerful staff that connects him directly to the grid, and if he does not have it, then he begins to die slowly because his power is what keeps him alive for eternity. Thousands of years ago, Kyros was the defender of the universe, but after so many battles, his body is very weak. That is why the grid has given him this staff so that he can guide others and help them defeat those who want to destroy the planets. When the universe was created, the power of good was formed, but at the same time the power of evil was formed. One of these evil powers was hidden for thousands of years, and not even Kyros himself was aware of this power. After all those years, this evil power spawned a very powerful sorcerer who has the ability to destroy the Morphin grid if he manages to feed his power for several more years. The name of this villain is Zarnak, which means God of Evil, and this villain will never be able to be transformed into a good being since he comes from the pure evil of the universe. Zarnak feeds on energy, and that is why he always tries to destroy the planets as they have a lot of energy in their core. This evil sorcerer has discovered that when a planet has inhabitants, then the core has more energy, and this is why he now wants to destroy the Earth. Kyros wants to stop Zarnak before he destroys the Earth and before he learns about the Morphin grid, the largest energy source in the universe. Hundreds of years ago there were crystals buried in different parts of the planet that used the power of the natural elements of the planet and could create a connection with the grid for a team of humans to use this power. This is how the Power Rangers were created, but this had not happened hundreds of years ago, and no human being today knew of these powers. Kyros found the four crystals that formed the ice, fire, electricity and earth rangers, but an additional crystal was still missing. Because of Kyros' connection to the grid, he was able to find the crystal easily, but he noticed something very strange. This crystal was buried in a very old temple and was still connected to the ranger who carried this power. The gold crystal controlled the four elements, and the ranger who had used it was born hundreds of years ago. This ranger did not know of the existence of the other crystals, and with his power he could control all the elements by channeling all that power through his staff. The Golden Ranger managed to defeat all the enemies of his time and developed peace on the entire planet. One day the Morphin Masters appeared to him and told him that he should take a long rest in order to help the Rangers in the future to defeat a very powerful villain. The Morphin Masters helped him so that the gold crystal would keep him alive all this time, and now Kyros has found him. The Golden Ranger joins the Power Rangers Elemental Force team to be the 6th Ranger despite being the 5th member of the team. Kyros has created a command center with highly advanced technology that comes from other planets and has hidden this base at the North Pole so that it can be camouflaged in the snow. In this command center, the Rangers will have everything they need to protect themselves and also to live there if they need to. The Rangers will use a morpher which will have a piece of the crystal of each Ranger in the center, and this morpher will help them to transform, but also to teleport and communicate. Because the threats are sometimes gigantic, the Rangers have their Zords, which are giant fighting machines. These powerful robots also use the power of the elements, and each one connects to the Ranger who has the crystal. The Blue Ranger has this giant blue robot that can use ice, water, and snow. This Zord lives in cold places and is the Zord that is closest to the command center. The Red Ranger Zord can control fire and lava, that's why it lives inside a volcano. This Zord is made of the most powerful metal as it must withstand high temperatures and is basically almost indestructible. The Yellow Ranger Zord is made with the best technology in the universe and can accomplish amazing things. It is basically a supercomputer with a warrior's body and also controls electricity. The Green Ranger Zord lives in the jungle. It is a very wild robot and is the strongest robot in existence. It has the ability to move very heavy things and can also dig very deep. The 6th Ranger Zord has an ancient civilization style and is the fastest Zord. Like the Gold Ranger, this Zord can control all 4 elements and lives in Latin America. Now with Astra, this team has 6 members, and although the White Ranger was the last one to join the team, the 6th Ranger is still the Gold Ranger. Do you think the Rangers can defeat Vrox and Zarnak? If you want to know more about this team, like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers Elemental Force.